Hello, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Mayor Bill Miranda, and it is my great honor to welcome you to the 2021 Newhallywood Silent Film Festival. Although we will not be able to celebrate in person, as we did for last year's festival, we can still gather virtually and continue this important celebration of Santa Clarita's Western filmmaking roots. Santa Clarita has a rich history of productions that have been filmed here dating back for more than a century. Stars like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks Sr., and Tom Mix came to create some of your favorite movies, joining legendary locals including Hoot Gibson, Harry Carey, and William S. Hart. The city has carried its impressive resume through the decades as filming in Santa Clarita has continued to grow with 10 movie ranches and more than 30 sound stages and a one-stop film permit office. I want to thank you for joining us as we enjoy the 2021 Newhallywood Silent Film Festival. I hope you enjoy many of the exciting sessions being offered this year, including video tours, conversations with historians, and the induction of the first 2 members into the Silent Film Hall of Fame. I look forward to being able to celebrate with you all in person very soon. Take care and enjoy the festival.
Hi everyone, I'm E.J. Stevens, and for the next couple of days, I will be your host for the 2021 Newhallywood Silent Film Festival. It'll be a different kind of film festival this year because, as we all know, it's been a different kind of year. This year, the festival will be taking place in cyberspace instead of at the William S. Hart Park in Newhall, but we hope it will be no less informative and fun. Now, you may wonder why we use the name Newhallywood for our film festival. Well, for over a century, this area centered around Newhall, California, has been Hollywood's backlot. Back then, there wasn't a lot of people out here, but there were a lot of wide open spaces and every type of landscape, and being that we were only a few miles north of the city limits of Los Angeles, it was easy for filmmakers to come here to capture these settings on film. We are looking at Beale's Cut, which is just south of Newhall. It was dug by hand by men using pickaxes and shovels starting in 1854. This allowed things like stagecoaches and cattle herds easier passage between the San Fernando and Santa Clarita valleys. Beale's Cut quickly became a favorite site for early filmmakers like John Ford, Tom Mix, and Buster Keaton. Beale's Cut has changed a lot since then, but so has Newhall. Now it's part of a much bigger city called Santa Clarita, which still remains a major center for film and television production. Now, 100 years ago, when you went to see a movie, you most likely heard a tinkling piano and perhaps the laughter of the crowd, but what you didn't hear was the spoken dialogue. Only the action and the words projected on screen conveyed to the audience what was happening. To present the film to a foreign market, all you had to do was change the language of the words on screen. The action remained the same. This made movies truly international, or as one historian described silent film, as Esperanto for the eyes. In 1921, Hollywood was the film production capital of the world, with millions of fans following the lives and happenings of the silent stars. This made many of them the most famous humans on the planet. But all was not well in Tinseltown. The film industry had been racked by a wave of scandals that nearly brought Hollywood's wild ride to a screeching halt. To highlight this combustible time in filmmaking history, our theme for this year's festival is Silent Scandals and Tragedies, which will take a deeper look into some of the more incendiary stories from a century ago. Over the course of the next couple of days, we hope to present both a fair and informative look at some of these controversial events, bringing you the thoughts of noted Hollywood filmmakers, historians, and film lovers. But don't worry, this weekend won't be all gloom and doom. This year we will also be inducting our first two members into the Newhallywood Silent Film Hall of Fame. That legendary duo consists of French filmmaker pioneer Georges Méliès and Newhall's favorite son, silent cowboy star William S. Hart. Now, whether you're a silent film nerd like me or will be experiencing the beauty of the silent film for the first time, we hope the 2021 Newhallywood Silent Film Festival will be informative, enlightening, and entertaining. Again, we thank you for joining us. And to get things started, we thought we'd show you around the place, a little spot we like to call New Hollywood. Silent filmmakers first came to Newhall and the surrounding areas in 1910 when D.W. Griffith brought Mary Pickford and Max Sennett to Rancho Camulos to film Ramona. The Saugus train station, which is currently in Heritage Junction next to the William S. Hart Park, became a frequent filming site in the silent era. At the time, it was located up the road a piece across from the Saugus Cafe. In 1917, silent superstar Douglas Fairbanks came to the Saugus train station to film a part of Wild and Woolly. 6 years later, Fairbanks' best friend Charlie Chaplin filmed The Pilgrim in the same building. Chaplin would return to the Santa Clarita Valley in 1936 to film what is considered to be the final scene of the silent era, the iconic conclusion of Modern Times. Some of the silent stars actually lived here, like Harry Carey. Hoot Gibson also spent some time in the area. We had another silent actor who lived in Newhall. You may have heard of him. His name was William S. Hart, but you might know him better as Two Gun Bill.
Welcome to another part of the Newhallywood Silent Film Festival. I'm Bill West, and I'm here to talk about William S. Hart Park. Now, I bet a lot of you silent film fans know who William S. Hart was, but just in case, he was one of the original silent movie cowboy actors. Now, he wasn't the first. Actually, there had been cowboy movie actors well before him, but they didn't care about authenticity so much. And Bill Hart, who grew up in the Old West, did care about authenticity. So when you see a Hart film, you're seeing the right costumes, the right buildings, the right buckboards, everything. Another thing that William S. Hart left us, besides his films, was his property. His property and the house that sits on it were all donated by Bill Hart on his death in 1946 to the County of Los Angeles. He said, when I used to make movies, folks would pay their nickels, dimes, and quarters to come see them. When I'm gone, I want them to have my home. So we all get to enjoy William S. Hart's property, his house in William S. Hart Park. Another connection for you silent film fans is a little thing that William S. Hart Park puts on called Silence Under the Stars. So we have Newhallywood Film Festival in the beginning of the year and Silence Under the Stars later on, a chance to enjoy silent movies on Bill Hart's property under the stars. Now, when you drive into Hart Park, one of the first things you'll probably see as you park is a place called Hart Hall. It used to be an old pole barn with no walls, but we've since put up walls and we've in fact put in a sound system and a screen, and you can rent it. It's often used for weddings. It's a great addition to our park. One of the other things that you will see when you first come into the park are the animals. Now, we have an animal keeper named Rachel, and she loves to give the animals cute names. Okay, some of them are a little corny, like the deer is named Dear Abby. We'll let that pass. But for you Star Wars fans, I like the boars named Luke and Leia. And for the alpacas that we have, somebody made the decision that all their names should start with the letter C. And so they went around and they asked different people that worked at the park and came up with their names, which are Cruella, Karma, Clarice, Coco, and Chanel. We have a horse named Monty and a donkey named Half Pint. And I think my favorites, really because of their names, are our tortoises. They are named Bill and Mary Ellen because the owners of the house on the property are Bill and Mary Ellen Hart. Now, tortoises, as it turns out, live about 150 years, and these tortoises are only 15. So chances are they're gonna outlast us. So we wanted to give them the most honorable names of our park, Bill and Mary Ellen. Also on the Hart Park property is a beautiful place called Heritage Junction. And for you history buffs, it's a must-see because it includes historic buildings we actually moved here lock, stock, and barrel, including the Saugus train station, which many silent films have been shot at. And by its name, you can tell it actually came from Saugus quite a ways up the road, but we moved it here piece by piece to Newhall. It's also the home of the Santa Clarita Valley Historical Society. You can go into Heritage Junction and the docents there will tell you the history, and when tours are available, they'll give you tours of the building. So it's a really exciting part of our park. Now, moving up towards the places where Bill Hart lived, first is sort of a nondescript rectangular building we call the Ranch House. It was built back in 1910. In the mid-1910s, about the time Bill was making his films, he rented it, and then later he purchased it. So it was used by Hart during his filming career. And in fact, the walls in that building are made to be moved to capture different filming angles. He also lived there after his film career while he was waiting for his retirement home to be built. That's the building that we call the mansion. He moved in 1927 when construction was finished. It has 22 rooms, 7 of which are bathrooms, 10,000 square feet. But the thing I like most about it, now if you go to historic homes, you get about halfway through the tour and you begin to realize that the famous person or man or woman that lived there, they've long since had all their stuff auctioned off. And the house may be filled with period antiques, or it may be filled with nothing. It may just be bare walls. You go into Hart's house and it's actually filled with his stuff. You are stepping back into time and seeing his furniture. The closets have his clothes in them. It's really a special way to go back into the life of a famous silent film star. And like the Ranch House, it's also available for tours. A little bit further down the hill is the bunkhouse. It's called that because that's where the ranch hands stayed. Also, during the Depression, people who were down on their luck would go up to Bill's house and ask for work, he would give them jobs and let them stay there, which is really pretty cool. The other neat thing I like about that building is that's where Bill Hart used to sneak down and play poker with his ranch hands, because his sister Mary Ellen did not allow poker in the main house. Now, a trip to the William S. Hart Park would not be complete without seeing the buffalo. Now, you might think they date back to Bill Hart's time or even earlier. Actually, it was more like the 50s and 60s, because they originally were living on the Disney Golden Oak Ranch. And the story goes that buffalo can be ornery. They're wild animals. Their behavior is unpredictable. And one time those buffalo took after Roy Disney, Walt's brother, and chased him on top of a car. Lillian, Walt's wife, saw that and said, "That's it for the buffalo, they're out of here." And so what did the Golden Oak and the Disney Company do? They gave them to William S. Hart Park. And so we're thrilled to have their descendants now. But there's so much more in Hart Park that we haven't been able to show you. So you have to come see it. There are campgrounds, there are hiking trails, there are picnic areas, there's even a gift shop. And best of all, it's a way for us silent film fans to enjoy the history of the father of all movie cowboys, William S. Hart. And, by the way, if you're interested in Hart's movies, in addition to the Newhallywood Silent Film Festival, on SCV TV, E.J. Stevens and I host a little show we call SCV in the Movies. And you can find a bunch of Hart films there and other silent films. So please check back with us, and please enjoy the rest of the Newhallywood Silent Film Festival.